Once we've completed the upper body series, we'll often go into the lower body series, or maybe just a separate day, separate athlete, and we'll do the lower body series. Again, it's the 20 series. Everything is based on 20 repetitions. We'll start this out getting a nice warm-up. We go fairly easy with just what bands would be a moderate to an easy resistance for the athlete. In this case, we got 4 bands on there. This is pretty easy, or maybe even a little too easy for Zach. We have him do 10 repetitions. We want him to go so that his legs are perpendicular to the floor, so there's a 90-degree angle actually between his leg and the floor. The angle is just a little bit greater at his hip, so that his quad is back just a little bit greater than 90 degrees, closer to say 100 degrees with his upper body. Once he completes the 20 repetitions, then we go straight into a stretching series. The stretching series, we're going to target the hip flexors and the quads first, then the hamstrings, and then we're going to get his hips and his glutes. In this case, we're going to start with a modified lunge. We'd like for the athlete to have his toe up, so we're forcing with the anterior tibialis, the front of the lower leg, get a stretch there. We're going to target the hip flexors and his quads with this stretch. And the more that Zach uses good posture, leans back into this, the greater the stretch. We'll hold these stretches for 30 seconds. Once he's held this for 30 seconds, then we're going to target the quad specifically a little bit more. So what we'll do is we'll have Zach lean forward, put his butt back so that it is on the heel of his shoe if he can, and then in this case we're going to really target the quad much more and not the hip flexor. So we're really targeting, zeroing in on the quad. Once we've held this for 30 seconds, then we will go straight into a hamstring stretch. And in this case, the design of the shuttle is ideal because it helps him go into a little pre-stretch because of the angle of the sled. And we'll have him lean in and hold this for 30 seconds. Now what we may do to get a little variety in our stretching is we'll do a Pmf pattern, which is simply a contract and relax. So in this case, we'll have him contract his quad and then relax it, and then when he relaxes it, Zach goes into a stretch. Then he contracts his quad and then stretch. So it's a contract a quad and then go into a hammy stretch. Every time you contract the antagonist or the opposite muscle, then the other muscle relaxes. So in this case, Zach contracts his quads, his hamstrings relax, and we can get a better stretch. It's just a nice variety for the stretching to prepare him for the next series of exercises. Now keep in mind, we want him to do quads, hip flexors first, then quads, then hamstrings, and then we'll go into our next stretch, which we call the figure 4. And in this one, in the figure 4, we're working on his hip rotators, specifically his piriformis primarily, a little bit of glute, but it's going to help him be able to open up his hips. If he can, any athlete that can open up his hips is going to be able to move laterally, particularly more efficiently. So it's a very important stretch. Again, we'll hold this for 30 seconds. We make sure we get both sides of the body. We get his left side and his right side. Once we've done this, then we're ready to go to the next exercise. All right, once we've completed the warm-up, so he's done his 20 repetitions, maybe 2 sets of 20 repetitions, depending on where he is. We've done our stretching. Now we go just a little bit more intense. And in this case, we're going to do a little bit of eccentric loading. We're going to add a band. We're going to have him go up with 2 legs and then lower himself with 1. It's just we're working on eccentric movement here, helping eccentric loading. This is very specifically targeting leg strength, hip stability, knee stability, a little bit of ankle stability. Going to improve strength a great deal because we are doing an eccentric movement. It's going to help him eccentrically load when he is in a competition, and it also is going to prepare him for the next exercise, which is even more intense. In this case, we're going to go 20 total reps. So you're up 20 times, down with the right 10 and down with the left 10, alternating between the two. After we've done the warm-up, the stretching, the next progression with the up 2, down 1, we go into an exercise that we think is wonderful, and we incorporate this year-round with our athletes. There's some pretty cool research out there that shows significant gains in vertical jump, training with the shuttle, doing just what we're getting ready to do, which is jumps. Any athlete can do it because you can adjust the resistance. You can throw one band on there for an athlete that's hurt and coming off an injury. You can add quite a few bands on there so the resistance is enough that it is demanding for the most powerful athlete. And it is going to help that athlete not only improve, again, strength and strength endurance, but power and joint stability, which we really want and which is very important for any explosive or any power athlete. In this case, it's just a 2-leg jump, and we're going to have the athlete go 20 reps, exploding off the platform, adding as many bands as we need, dropping off as many bands as we need. And again, we're thinking about hitting that platform as hard as we can and coming off as hard as we can. Last in our 20 series are the single leg jumps. In this case, we're going to get 20 repetitions with one extremity, all 20 reps in a row, and then we're going to go to 20 repetitions with the other extremity, all in a row, all explosive jumps. We're trying to develop, again, power primarily. Any athlete can do it because of the versatility of the shuttle, where you can go from one band to multiple bands. So a novice can do it, a very experienced, very powerful athlete can do it. And again, the research shows that it's a nice tool for improving vertical jump. In this case, we want to improve power, vertical jump. We want to improve ankle stability, knee stability, hip stability, and it's also a nice tool that we can use for conditioning. Okay, Zach, let's go right ahead. Get in your 20 reps.